Hey, I'm Aleesha,
And I'm Danielle.
and welcome back to another episode of the She's of STEM.
The She's of STEM is a podcast series that will be discussing women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We will be discussing women's issues, current events, and how they pertain to STEM, how we can change the scientific culture, and about the people who are already doing that. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about why exposure is everything and why representation is so important, especially for females in STEM.
That is absolutely right. I mean, we don't see a lot of minorities, we don't see a lot of women of color, especially in the science and tech world. And we're just going to address why it's important and some pretty cool things that actually help get the message out there.
Yeah, so when we talk about getting females interested in any of the STEM fields, it starts with exposure. So it starts with or representation. You could see it in either way. But I think a big problem is like why we don't see a lot of minorities as well in STEM or just in any fashion anywhere. Like mainstream media, movies, whatever, just because there isn't a lot of exposure there. We aren't seeing girls in mechanical engineering, let's say, like what I am, because they probably weren't exposed to making things when they were a kid or tinkering with things when they were a kid. Just like we probably don't see a lot of certain minorities in movies because they weren't there when they were growing up. So how can you know that you can do something if you don't see someone already doing it, or if you don't get exposed to acting classes or tinkering with things for engineering?
Yeah, I think that's one of the major things. It's like if you don't see yourself in a position, say, as a mechanical engineer, it just doesn't occur to you that you could actually do it. So from a young age, if we always see boys doing engineering, it's not that we're not good at it or we wouldn't want to do it. It's just because we wouldn't think of doing it, just because we haven't seen anyone that looks like us doing it.
Right. As a kid, you're trying to figure out like what is my place in this world? How do I navigate this world? And so girls do girl things and boys do boy things because the majority of boys are there, or girls gravitate towards girls and boys gravitate towards boys as their kids because they're trying to figure out, well, what is my place in this world? How do I do? And so if you don't have parents or mentors or your friends aren't interested in other things that are
or even in the media
related,
or even in the media you don't see it, you just wouldn't think of doing it. But it's not, I think it goes a lot deeper into that. So it's not just like if a person doesn't see someone, they wouldn't go for it. It actually affects the people around them as well. So for instance, if we see more females in higher positions, men are more likely to hire them in that position. So let me
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So like if two people were going for an interview to get a raise, the man is more likely to promote the man, not because he's sexist or anything, but it's just subconsciously he might think the man is more capable at doing that job just because he's seen more men in that position.
Right.
Yeah, so if we push the boundaries and if we see more women in those positions, if we see more women in tech, more women in science, or as bosses, it has a domino effect. So even people that are in control of hiring people or doing anything, or they'll push that part as well. So they'll actually, even subconsciously, if it was the norm to see a female as a boss, or if that was the norm, the man would have more likely hired the female rather than the male. So I think that's a more important point to make as well. So not only does it inspire the people, but it actually pushes the boundary, and it actually makes it normal that it's more based on skill rather than how you look like or how you perceive. So it's not as hard to
Right.
get into those top positions.
And I think it's important also to say that, like, if you are a female who's doing the hiring,
Yeah.
you're more likely to hire someone who already looks like what that position
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So if you're used to seeing men in power, even
Yeah.
if you're a woman, you're going to hire a man. And I think that goes across no matter what gender you identify
Yeah.
with as well.
That is a true point. A lot of females, they're not sexist, but it's just because it's just what they're used to. So they do. I think it's a subconscious thing, and it's just because we see it everywhere in the media, like
Yeah.
a woman portrayed a certain way and a guy portrayed a certain way. So we just assume those roles and conform to them, even if we don't mean to. But
Yeah.
so I think that's a big thing as well, and that's why representation is so important.
Yeah.
And another point that I wanted to make was that it having a more diverse team, having a more diverse company would actually bring more profit to the company. I think
And
a
we
lot of
see
people,
that everywhere. There's so much research on that.
yeah, there is, and I think a lot of people forget that. So, if, for instance, the top CEO of a company is just one race or one gender, it limits the thoughts, and you're actually blocking out that target audience, if you get what I'm saying, because you're not catering to them, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't know what they want because there's no one like that
Mm-hmm.
there. So a good example is where Apple, it had the Fitbit, it had
Mm-hmm.
it's called Health Kit, and it released that in like 2014,
Okay.
and it released that, and basically it had everything. It calorie count, it's basically a profile of everything about your health. But one thing that they forgot was periods, the menstruation cycle with women, and obviously that affects your health a lot. And if it's something
Yeah.
if it's something that like tallies your health, and if it's something that calculates your health and it's meant to measure your health, how can they forget such a big thing? How can they forget something that affects more than half the population? And how
Right.
can they just miss it out? And it's just because there's probably not enough females in that room during
Mm-hmm.
the making process and during the development and actually publishing it.
Yeah.
And they did receive a lot of backlash, and they
Oh.
did they did bring an update out. This was back in 2015, where it did have it, but the problem shouldn't occur in the first place. So at least they did amend the issue, but it shouldn't occur in the first place.
Right.
Where
Right.
where how can they forget such a basic thing? And even another example is Google. It had, I think this was a couple of years back as well, where it had like an image descriptor. So basically it categorized your images. So
Okay.
whatever images you uploaded, if it was like an image of a bird, it put in the bird category, so you could search categories. So it's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah.
So but what it did was, every time a black person uploaded an image of themselves, they put it in the gorilla category. So it was, so that is
Oh my God. I haven't heard of this. How have I not heard of this? This is
yeah, it was a
insanity.
big thing like a couple of years ago, and everyone was so shocked. They were like, how are they categorizing our images as that? And it's just because they probably didn't think about putting in the code, or I don't know, there must have been some issue with the development process. And yeah, even I was speechless the first time I heard of it. And it's the thing where there's not enough diversity. Yeah, they
Oh my
literally had
God.
to like scratch the whole thing. I think you can't even like, so yeah, so they literally had to like take 10 steps back.
If you're not watching this on the YouTube channel, I literally,
Yeah, literally her face was just like, she was literally like,
I don't even know what to say or how to react. I was just, it probably looked like I was frozen on the camera
yeah, it
just
probably looked like it
because,
was lagged, but no. It, and it's, I bet
oh my
so
God.
many things like this happen on a smaller scale, or just people don't realize that it's happening, because obviously Apple and Google are such big companies, and it's
Right.
obviously any mistake they do would be, especially a mistake as big as this, would
Yeah.
be out all over the media. But I'm sure there's so
And I'm
many
glad it
little
is. Like, I'm glad it's being addressed.
yeah, 100%, because things like that need to be talked about, and it's the thing where more representation is needed. And I think people want to, well, not I think, I know people want to see themselves in all these different positions. And
Yeah.
I feel like representation is becoming like a big thing in the media right now, where they're trying to include like different people and different types. And I feel like that's why films like Black Panther, you see, or A Wrinkle in Time,
Mm-hmm.
and even like Fenty Beauty, where it includes all different shades of foundation,
Yeah.
are making so much money, because people want to see themselves, and people that
Yeah.
disregard women or people of culture are actually missing out on such a big audience that they don't realize, because
Right.
you're just catering to just one type of person. So I think people forget that it goes a lot deeper than just, oh, I see myself, I'm going to be that. It
Right.
has, it's like a domino effect, like I said before. It affects like so many different categories and types of people. So it's really important. The more you read about it and the more you research about it, you find out just how important it is, and you find out just how not many people are represented. Like, I just thought it was, for me, I
Yeah.
just thought it was normal not to see someone that's like me in the media. I
Just
never
so
thought that.
sad.
I never thought that that was a big deal. So
Yeah.
you don't put yourselves in that position, because you're like, oh, that just isn't for me. You don't even think that's an issue. That's the
Right.
thing. That's the craziest thing about it. You don't think it's an issue when you're growing up, and
Right.
when you see the impact that it does make. Like, you hear the stories where you see like there was an Annie remake, and Annie was cast as a black girl rather than a white girl like in the original. You
Yeah.
see how those little girls look up to her, and how
Mhm.
just how much it affects them. And you didn't, I don't know, I didn't think it could have that much of an impact if it's just a film, or if it's just like even a YouTube video, but it does. And that's the beauty of it, I guess.
Right. Because, like we were talking about before, when you're a kid, like, you're just discovering your identity and who you are and the things that
Yeah.
you can do. Um, and I kind of wanted to go off back to like what we're talking about with acting as well. I had so many things go through my head, but I'm gonna tell this story. So, I, as a kid, I was in a lot of the performing arts. So we were talking before this episode, when we were just setting up. I
Yeah.
used to be a semi-professional dancer, but I also started to do kind of dabble in acting, which was awesome. It really gave me a lot of confidence, and there was really good things with it. But I would go to auditions and get turned down because they had too many people who looked like me, because I'm a white, small, blonde girl with
That's
blue eyes.
crazy.
And like, there's, so I'm a minority in STEM, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a female. But in everything else, I look like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because that's like, as a kid, I didn't, because I was doing this when I was like 10. And as a kid, I didn't understand that that was all kinds of, excuse the language, fucked up.
Yeah. That's crazy. I never thought that'd
Because,
be too many of, like, I'd never even thought that was
yeah.
an issue. That's
And
crazy.
like, I think back at it now and I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And not for me, like, for everyone else, it's, there's too many of me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're turning, people who look like me down. But what does that say about the casting and the shows and all those things? It's like, I remember watching shows and like being a redhead. You're still white, but being a redhead was like, oh, you're different, you're diverse now.
Yeah.
And look how far we've come. I mean, there's still obviously so much to do, but look how far we've come just in
that
media.
is true.
And now we're bringing that into the STEM world.
Yeah.
100%. And so, and there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of work in this too. And that's so exciting. To be a part of that and be a part of the STEM community and be a female in STEM or be a minority in STEM, regardless if you're female or not. And being like, no, like there are people advocating for us now. And one of those people that I wanted to talk to you about is Debbie Sterling. And she is the founder of Goldie Blocks. And she is a mechanical engineer. She got her bachelor's in mechanical engineering and product design. So we're definitely taking strides to be inclusive in all aspects of media and education and just so much more. But Debbie is one of those people who's actively doing something about it. So she is someone who's changing the representation of females in STEM. She's been disrupting the pink toy aisle. And yesterday I went to Walmart just to kind of see like
what she's doing.
Yeah. And like, I didn't see her product on the shelf because I don't know if they're in Walmart yet. But yeah, just looking everywhere.
Yeah, you don't. It's the thing where, like I said before, you've grown up with it, so you don't question it. You just think it's normal.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous. So you can see the pink from a mile away. The amount of pink that's in the girls' aisle.
Yes.
You can literally see it from a mile away. And then in contrast, the boys' aisle, where it's like the trucks and like the monster trucks and just this and that. So I think it's just you don't realize that there's something wrong with it, or it's like you don't question it. You take it at face value.
And I was looking at the boys as well, and it's literally all like red and blue and orange, and that's fine. But like, what about the guys who are interested in makeup? What about the guys who don't identify with the like burly, or I build things and I destroy things? And so you can see it in small ways that things are changing. Just a few more examples. So with Barbie, there's a lot of Ken dolls now. And I was like, okay, that's cool. There was a paleontologist Barbie yesterday. I was really excited about that. Excuse me.
It's fine, yeah.
I don't know what's been wrong with my voice. Earlier, I cracked. I was going through puberty all over again.
Okay, take your time.
Back to this. With Legos, you are seeing more girly, and I'm doing quotes again, Legos, but it's like all Disney stuff, which is fine. I love Disney, but if I was a girl, like I'd still love Legos. If I was a girl, I am a girl. I still love Legos.
I like how I didn't even question it either. I was just like,
she's like, yeah. See, I don't know. That's some. We can get into that comment later. Of why I said that. But also there was if there were females in the Lego set and it wasn't specifically geared towards girls and it was more geared towards boys, the men Lego figure was always in the front, like taking charge, and the woman was like scared. Like I remember seeing one for a dinosaur scene, and the man was like on a dinosaur on something, like charging away, and she was like, "Oh my god!"
It's always the damsel in distress, scenario where I guess the girl needs to be saved by the heroic guy, and then I guess that's kind of scary when you think about it, the kind of like stories and images that they're putting in little kids, because it's always like, I guess the guy could even play it out like, oh, I'm the macho man, I'm the hero, I'm gonna save these girls.
Yeah.
When they don't even need saving in the first place.
Right. It's affecting both sides. Like it's not just the pink toy aisle. It's the blue toy aisle.
So that's the crazy thing about representation. It doesn't affect just like the minority, it affects the majority as well.
Yeah.
Once you so you need to like change things.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. And so with with Goldie Blocks, so I know I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that. But Goldie Blocks is changing that. And she's also disrupting like the fact that the damsel in distress as well.
Yeah. So what is Goldie Blocks exactly? Because
yeah. Sorry. Thank you for getting me back on
track.
track. So
because I was like, wait, we haven't explained.
Before we talk about Goldie Blocks, I just want to say we're not affiliated in any way. I just think that this product is really cool. So we're not getting paid for any of this. We do this for free and for fun. And yeah, nothing that we say goes against them and nothing they say goes against us. Okay, anyway, so I found out about Goldie Blocks through a Super Bowl commercial. And Goldie Blocks is the first engineering toy for girls.
That's awesome.
And it's so cool. And it's so cool because for many reasons. So we'll get into that. So I remember seeing this commercial for the Super Bowl a few years ago, and it started out with like this what is it called when when you like set dominoes and then like it hits a bowling ball and then it like goes down,
right,
it goes on a string, like one of those series. And then there was like a skate that hit something else, that hit a cup, and it was just like all this thing. And then it was these like little girls who had built it and done it, and they're running throughout the whole thing watching it go, and it was amazing. And I remember seeing it and literally getting goosebumps, and I watched it again and getting goosebumps again. But I didn't say anything at the Super Bowl party or whoever I was with, because I knew that the world wasn't ready for that quite yet, or so I thought. Little did I know they were already like disrupting the whole pink toy aisle. So I just kind of kept to myself, but I was like, this is going to be amazing. And so Goldie Blocks is this award-winning children's multimedia company. And they're in stores globally, but they originally started in Toys R Us. And these toys are challenging the gender stereotypes in engineering. And so Goldie is the world's first engineering character who's a girl. And so what's so cool about this is that I identify with her, and then her friend goes into another demographic. So she's blonde and she has curly hair, and she has green eyes. So when I see Goldie, I see me. I'm like, yes. But she's still white, so that's still, it's not a problem. But there's still that problem of like,
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean.
But she's curious. She likes to build things. She asks questions. She's adventurous, and she isn't afraid to get dirty. So we're challenging the damsel in distress. We're challenging that I have to be in a dress and I, can't also play in the mud. We're challenging that I can't work with my hands. We're challenging all those kinds of stereotypes. But what's even cooler is her addition is her best friend. Her name is Ruby Rails, and she's a huge success. And she is an African-American girl, and she loves to code. So she has similar qualities to Goldie, but she loves to code, and she's the coding expert.
That's so awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
So cool. And so what's really cool is that when Debbie was designing these toys, so like I said before, she went to school to be a mechanical engineer, but before she even got to school, she didn't know what an engineer was. And from being an engineer myself, I honestly couldn't tell you what an engineer did even in my like third year of college. So we don't do a very good job at explaining that. But she ended up graduating college and realizing there's no one, like there was no one in my engineering classes that looked like me, or there were barely any females. And if there was another female, we were in competition with each other, or we didn't really talk to each other. Because there wasn't like a camaraderie, you're kind of, even if there's other girls in your engineering classes, you're still kind of like a lone wolf. So she wanted to create something that was going to disrupt that, and that was going to disrupt it at a very early age. So she wanted these characters to be relatable to young girls, and she wanted these these young girls to see them and then identify with them and be like, hey, maybe if Goldie or if Ruby is curious and adventurous and isn't afraid of getting dirty, then maybe I can do that too. And it's kind of giving themselves like permission.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
completely agree. Yeah, I think it ties in with what we discussed last episode as well, where it was like, even if they don't want to be an engineer or they don't want to be a computer scientist, just encouraging them to think and encouraging them like, oh, I should question this or I could do this. It's, I think that's like the essence of it, and that's the beauty of the product. That's why it's such a good, cool product, because it just encourages girls to think and explore and be adventurous.
Right. And give them permission to say, like, even because, like you said, there's a possibility that they don't want that. They don't want to be dirty. They don't want to be an engineer. They don't want to be a computer scientist. They don't want to be a scientist. But at least they have the option now.
Yeah. At least they can think.
There's something there that they can decide.
Yeah, that's the, because like we discussed before, a lot of times you don't even think that you could do it. So at least in their minds, they know they have the option. The option's there even if they want it or they don't want it. And I think that's such a big step forward.
Right.
For like all girls. Yeah.
Walmart
Walmart should stock it. I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, it should be everywhere. And they're doing amazing. Like, that company has just soared in like 2 years. They have created a bunch of different things. And so the toy is an engineering toy where you like learn how to play with gears or with pulley systems. But they knew, or Debbie Sterling knew, that in order to really get into the girl market as well, there needed to be a story. So with the toys, you also get a book. So there's a story of Goldie. And so you like see her make these things, and then you can go and build the toy. So you get that reading, that learning, that language development, as well as that playing, that tinkering, that hand-eye coordination development, that like creative thinking development. You get all of that with these products. But they also aren't just a toy company. They're a multimedia company. So the toys come with stories. So that's part of the multimedia and part of the toy. But they also have apps that teach young girls how to code, that are taught by Ruby Rails as their guide, because she's their coding expert. They have a YouTube channel where Goldie like tries different things. I was watching them. She was, of course, playing with slime because that's still huge. And then there was one where she made an air conditioner out of a water cooler, but then made it look like a sea monster because that's what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
So you just get all of these different things.
Yeah, that's good as well, because I feel like because she has a story to it, it seems more relatable, and because she's going on all these different adventures, and the fact that it's accessible. So many kids are on YouTube now. So many kids have like iPads and tablets, and they're downloading these apps.
And people want to be YouTubers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so because she's like available everywhere, so she's not just a toy that kids can forget about. You can watch her, you can play with her, you can learn how to code. I feel like it makes it that much better, and it makes it that much more accessible as well. And even I feel like even boys could play with it as well, because you could feel like so what if a girl codes, and like it normalizes it as well. So it normalizes the fact that they can be engineers, and they can code, and they're going on all these missions, and they're literally the heroine to their own story. So they're like the lead of their own story. So I feel like that's really cool.
And it is, and it's so exciting. There's a quote from a Pop Sugar Entertainment video that I wanted to share.
Yep.
And it was talking about Goldie Blocks, it was Debbie Sterling talking about Goldie Blocks through Pop Sugar, and she was just saying, if I can flip the script and show young girls and their parents that it's a completely normal to invent and code and solve problems, that it's a part of girlhood, then that's really exciting. And it is really exciting because it's showing girls, it's showing boys, it's showing their parents that doing this stuff is just a part of being a girl. And it's just a part of being a kid, which is so important because kids are natural scientists. They're natural inventors.
Yeah.
They don't know. Like we were talking about earlier, they're trying to find their place in this world. They're asking questions. They're deciding, they're making small decisions and then, theorizing about things. Even if they don't know it, even if you as a parent or as a teacher or as a mentor or as an older person, even if you don't see it,
It's
that's
in
what
their
they're doing.
subconscious. Yeah, it's in their subconscious. So they're subconsciously doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
it affects their whole entire life.
Yeah,
Not to be over dramatic, but it does.
it does.
Yeah. So those, it's like a tower. So it's literally at the beginning blocks. So if they're like sturdy, if they're fine, the
Mm-hmm.
whole house would be okay. But if
Ooh,
that foundation is a bit cracky, if they're not sure about themselves, or they're not sure if they can do this,
yep.
it'll just go on with them throughout their entire life. So that's
Yeah,
why it's so important to hit home during those early years.
right. And expose them to everything.
Yeah.
Show them that there's representation everywhere. Show them that it's okay to be curious. It's okay to invent no matter what you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you want to be, because they're going to change their mind anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So let them be kids.
mhm. And like you mentioned before, Barbie's actually doing that with the whole representation campaign. So
Mm-hmm.
Barbie actually has, especially because I feel like, well, it was actually reported that for the last couple of years, their stocks has been going pretty down,
Yep.
and that's because every Barbie has been thin and blonde and tall. So I feel like,
Disproportionate.
yeah, disproportionate. So I think there was a study where it was like Barbie can't be, if Barbie was made into a human, she wouldn't be able to stand.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous how Barbie's just been formed. But for the last couple of years, the stocks have been down, and I think a big part of it, and Barbie realized this as well, a big part of it was because a lot of people aren't getting represented.
Mm-hmm.
Even like white females, a lot of them don't look like that. A lot of them aren't tall. A lot of them aren't super skinny, or like, so it's just a very small percentage. And I feel like because as a community we've become so diverse and so
Mm-hmm.
many people, so it just, I think people aren't standing for it either. So I feel
Yeah.
like
People are sick
Barbie's,
of
yeah,
people are sick of it.
yeah, so I feel like Barbie was kind of forced to, or pushed into, just rethinking their whole branding image. And now especially like for International Women's Day, which was a couple of weeks back,
Mm-hmm.
they actually celebrated different kind of women. So you see a woman in a hijab, a scarf. You
I
see
didn't see that. That's awesome.
yeah, so you see all these famous women like Ashley Graham. So she's like plus size. So you see her. You see all these
Mm-hmm.
different types of women,
Yeah.
and all these Barbies are for sale. So again, it's about body image as well, where
Oh, it's
if
about
you,
so many things.
yeah,
So many
so many
things.
things, and body image is one of the things as well. So it, again, it's really sad if a girl only sees one type of body image or one type of like girl, and she
Mm-hmm.
automatically thinks that she's meant to look like that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to get all these different skin tones, all these different body images, all these different just types of people with their stories. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at least Barbie's doing that now, so it's starting to do that. So it's starting to get that
The
starting
big
to be more noticed.
players
Yeah,
are
yeah,
coming into it.
yeah,
And I hope it's not too late because I don't want to see anyone's business, crumble. But like, at least someone's getting the message, and at least we're talking loud enough, we're being big enough, we're showing them that like the shit isn't okay anymore.
yeah.
Like, I'm here, I exist, I'm a human.
Mhm.
And even the things that just represent like the white male or the white female, it's like I don't look like that. And I don't care to look like that. And
Yeah.
what about all my friends who don't look like that? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, where are they? Because I want to see, I want to see everyone there. And I think, and everyone needs a seat at the table, and everyone can have a seat at the table. So it's really getting those people in there and just having that representation, having that exposure. And I think that that's changing, and that it's exciting to be a part of it. It's exciting
Mm-hmm.
to be talking about it,
Yep.
and getting it out there, because now it's not, sorry, someone's,
Well,
there
I
was
didn't even hear anything.
oh, you didn't? There was
No.
like a really loud fire truck. I hope you're okay.
Oh.
Like, yeah, just where is everyone? Like,
Yeah.
let's bring everyone together. And so I
Mm-hmm.
just think that it's really important. We both do, to talk about this, and we're getting out there and have a conversation. So if you want to have a conversation with us, hit us up,
Yep, definitely. We're always
comment.
free to hear your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
or how your views are on this matter. And it's so important to just like have a dialogue, just to see what you're thinking, not just to hear what we're thinking.
Because this is
And
our opinion,
yeah,
and we could be wrong.
yep.
We want to
Like,
represent you.
mm-hmm. And if there's any like further discussions that you would like us to mention, or you do want us to talk about, you do want us to address, that we've completely forgotten about, and we've completely like
Guys, you missed the mark.
Yeah.
What about this?
Like, so we're free to suggestions, and we're free to like opinions. We love them.
Yeah,
We love them.
we're open-minded. We want to hear about you, and hear about what you have to say. And if we missed anything about you, because we're just two girls who are in STEM and look this way, so we can only speak from our experiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, so don't forget, get curious.
Mm-hmm.
Let your kids be kids.
Yep.
Show them representation, and find that representation for yourself.
Yep.
Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.